Right, Saturday, 3 p.m, Chelsea look to get back to winning ways when we take the trip to what of recent has been quite a happy hunting ground for the Blues in Selhurst Park when we take on Oliver Glasner's Crystal Palace. Now, we played these lot already this season, and had it not been for a dodgy referee, I believe that we would have beat them. But the 1-1 draw that we recorded at Stamford Bridge that day actually put an end to a 14-game winning streak over the Eagles, which stretched back well over 7 years. And despite Liverpool now starting to build a bit of a gap, the top of the table is really close at this moment in time. And when I say the top, I mean anything from second position all the way to probably 6th position. Literally, a couple of wins can blast any team in that sort of bit of the table into a title race at the moment. And a couple of bad results apparently can take you out of one. But despite me tongue-in-cheek speaking about a title race at times, I think that the main project and the objectives of this season would have definitely been to secure Champions League football. And we are on course to do that. But a couple of bad results could hinder that. And now, if we are to really maintain where we're at and stop that position from slipping away from us, I believe that we desperately need a win here at Selhurst Park. So in today's video, we are going to speak about the opposition. I'm going to give you lot my preferred starting lineup for this game, and as always, I'm going to top it off with a score prediction. But people, before we get into all that, welcome back to the Joey Night podcast. A very happy new year to all of you out there. Big shout out to everyone that's been supporting the channel throughout all of 2024 and even summer 2023 when I first launched. If you're not already, please subscribe to the channel. If you're a regular watcher and you aren't subscribed to the channel, please do so. It's one click of a button and it really helps me. Let's get into the video. Now, with the way that they finished last season and the early impact that Oliver Glasner had during his tenureship as Crystal Palace manager, I think that a lot of people at the start of this season were picking Palace as almost dark horses, weren't they, for maybe clinching some sort of European football. I mean, losing Elise was never going to be easy. I think it goes under the radar, but losing Anderson at the back was never going to be easy. And there was definitely a feeling, in my opinion, that that would hurt Palace, but there was also a feeling of optimism, a feeling that they could be heading in the right direction. And maybe this season, they could be the Brighton, the Villa, the Newcastle of seasons gone by. But then at the same time, when you look at how things are going, how things are gone, maybe we were reading false data from that new manager bounce, you know, because I think we were all really impressed by the way that they put the likes of Man United to the sword, Aston Villa to the sword in that run at the end of last season. And maybe I'm just saying this because we've just lost to Ipswich, right? But like, you hear a lot of the pundits speak season in, season out almost about like the lack of competitiveness in the Premier League and how the new boys are so far adrift and it's 3 up, 3 down and whatnot and whatever. And I understand that. Maybe there'll be stats to back it up, but I personally believe that the Premier League is more competitive than ever it has been in my entire lifetime. You look at a team like Crystal Palace, who are, 15th, 16th in the table, maybe 14th at a push. I should have it up in front of me. And I don't even think they've been bad. I don't even think they've been bad at all this season. I mean, to be honest, a little bit like I was saying about Fulham in the preview for that match, Palace have just been draw merchants, haven't they, really, this season? And some of those draws have been impressive. They drew with us, they drew with City, they drew with Man United, they drew with Villa, Newcastle. Couple of good wins I think they've got over Brighton, Tottenham. So on their day, they can rock up and they can do a job, and they've definitely got the personnel to be able to do that. And if they weren't already feeling like this off the back of the Everton game and the Fulham game, off the back of that Ipswich match, I think they will be heading into this one feeling very confident that they can go and do a job on Chelsea. They can pull something out of the bag, and it might not be necessarily just coming and blitzing us or whatever, but if they can stay compact and if they can ride the storm at times, then they will be able to nick something. Luckily for us, they will be without one of their key players and one of the best defenders in world football, one of my favourite Chelsea players until he officially leaves the club, and that is Trevor Chalobah, because he's ineligible to face us because he's on loan. But they've still got the likes likes of Tomori. They've got some good defenders in there. And despite the rumours that Lavia and obviously Reece James, who was included in the matchday squad against Ipswich, are now back and could get some sort of minutes in this game, I would be shocked to see either of those two start in this one. So with that being said, here is the team that I would go with. And to be honest, I think we all know at this point that it's very, very hard to tinker with that team all that much, unless your name's Enzo Maresca and you're on your way to Ipswich on a weeknight. But either way, regardless of that, Robert Sanchez in goal for me, 100%. I spoke a little bit about that Jorgensen penalty incident with Josh, and do you know what? I came in for a bit of stick over it. So I've gone back and I've reviewed every single angle, and I'm still pretty firm in my stance in terms of like, do I think it was a Stonewall penalty? No. Would I be appealing for it if it was a Chelsea player that went down at the hands of an opposition goalkeeper? 100% I would, and I'd be outraged if we didn't get it. So that would make me a hypocrite to say that it's not a penalty. But at the same time, I get where you guys are coming from. Was it soft? Yes. But is the game soft? Yes. And therefore, was it necessarily a Jorgensen mistake? I don't think it was. But at the same time, he did concede 2 goals in that match. Robert Sanchez has been in a little bit better form of lately. Now, obviously, Desassi was a disaster in that game. And therefore, I very much expect Malo Gusto to come back into this one. Tosin Adarabioyo is the only real sort of credible option of someone that could pair up with Levi Colwill in this one. I know that the new ownership have got, you know, a thing about players over the age of 24 and whatnot, and I understand that, but bearing in mind, that he was happy to take a year-by-year contract, my God, could we have done with Thiago Silva? Are you telling me that Thiago Silva would not be a better partner right now for Levi Colwill? Honestly, because I don't know. But either way, Cucurella, left back, the pivot picks itself, doesn't it? It's Caicedo, it's Enzo, it's Palmer in front of them back in the 10 for me in this one. Pedro Neto on the right wing, Jadon Sancho on the left wing, and Nicholas Jackson up top. Now, we have to take our opportunities early on in this game. And if we don't do that, or if even worse, we go behind, things can become really, really nervy at Selhurst Park as this game goes on. And we're really going to need to trust our front line to deliver. But just quickly, do you like betting and winning on the football? Do you like getting odds boosts so you can win more? Well, then this is your lucky day, because channel sponsor SteakMate have released their newest feature, Mate Boost, where if you bet together with your mates, you can get better odds. But what is SteakMate, you may ask? Well, this review from the App Store will explain it way better than I ever could. This app is as if Bet365 and Snapchat had a baby. Great sportsbook and just a great way to chat with the lads. But how does it all work? Well, first of all, you need to be 18 years old or over and living inside the UK, and if you are, all you need to do is click the link in the description that will take you to the app. You need to go through the sign-up process, which will literally take 2 minutes. Then once you're signed up and logged in, at the bottom of the page, hit groups, and at the top left-hand side of the page, hit invite code. The invite code is JOEYK. Once you put that invite code in, you will officially be part of the Joey Night squad, where you can suggest bets to us, you can chat amongst myself and the big dog, where we put our accumulators in every single week, and you can join our community. Every single week I put my accumulator in there, which you can critique, or you might even fancy copying. But as for this week, here's what I'm going for. I am going to start off, I know it's a long shot on the way they're playing, but I just feel like Everton are going to get a bit of revenge over Bournemouth for that 3-2 result earlier on in the season. Then I think that Aston Villa are going to beat Leicester. I am going to back Man City to make it back-to-back wins and beat West Ham. And then I'm holding out hope for Brighton to do some sort of job on Arsenal. I think that they can get a draw at their home ground, and at the time of betting, by putting just £5 on that, I stand to win over 125 quid. As soon as I have put that bet on, by the way, I go straight into your bets. I'll click on the bet and click share into the Joey Knight squad, where you guys can have a look at what I'm betting on this weekend. And SteakMate are constantly adding new features to the app, including anytime goal scorers and anytime assists, meaning that you can put that into your accumulators too. But the good news doesn't just stop there, because when you sign up to SteakMate for the first time, you will get 20 quid in free bets when you bet just £10. And they're offering even more bonuses as you play. So hit the link in the description now, join my squad by using the invite code JOEYK. But remember, you must be living inside the UK, you must be 18 years old or over, and we all need to remember to gamble responsibly. Because when I look at the midfield, I really think it's going to have its work cut out for it, you know. When you look at the fact that Cucurella is often going to push up a little bit, maybe I don't want to see him as high. I don't want to see him on the left wing in this game. I want to see him joining up with Enzo Fernandez in the middle a little bit more and offering a little bit more physicality, willingness to get stuck in the middle of the park. And I'll tell you why, because I do think that Caicedo may be a little bit further back than ever at times in this game. I think that Caicedo is going to have to help out Malo Gusto in this match in being able to contain Eberici Eze, because I just think that that is a matchup that, although on speed and pace and, you know, the one-on-one ability, I think that Malo Gusto will fare well in, I just think he's going to take a little bit of stopping Eze down that wing. So with Caicedo's helping him out, we need an extra man in midfield, and therefore Cucurella will probably drop in there at times. If we look to the bench, I understand that we're weak in terms of depth in the middle of the park. We could definitely do with an Andre Santos back off loan, even an Ugachukwu back off loan. Perhaps if we hadn't sold Conor Gallagher, he would be a prime candidate to be starting. But if I look at the bench and who's available, I think that the physicality of Renato Vega, this may be a match where we may need to bring him on, and if we are in a sort of position that we're leading the game, then, you know, maybe we bring him on for one of the more attacking players and really, really shore up and make sure that we get back to winning ways here. Look, I don't think that the dry spell that we have been on of recent will continue into this game, but I do feel like our defence has been poor at times this season and maybe has been bailed out by our attacking prowess at times this season. And that needs to change here in this game, because if this game's tight and you've got the likes of Mateta chasing down every single ball, putting pressure on the backline, putting pressure on the goalkeeper, forcing them into passes and maybe balls that they wouldn't necessarily want to play. And then you've got Eze and you've got Sarr off the back of him potentially. That can just get really, really tricky. And I think that the Chelsea that we've seen over recent weeks may potentially bow to that sort of pressure. So we need to get in front in this game, and we really need to do it early on. An early goal would really, really settle the nerves for me in this one, because the longer it goes and the more it ticks on, the more afraid I get of that Palace front line. I can see them being kept quiet early on, but as the game goes on, I think the physicality of them, they will really, really start to test our defence. And listen, I'm not using this as an excuse, because everyone will point to the fact that we've got a very, very expensively assembled squad and say we shouldn't be moaning about anything. But I can do whatever I like on this channel, so I am going to moan. And what I am going to say is that the injuries to Fofana and Lavia have absolutely crippled us. And despite me loving seeing us smash teams week in, week out, in that Europa, I don't know what it's called now, in the Conference League, is what I'm trying to say. I think that when we've actually occurred some suspensions and injuries and had to pluck some players out of that B team that we see in the Conference League, they haven't They haven't really delivered, have they? They haven't really fitted in seamlessly at times. I know that some of our sort of A-team players have been getting run-outs in the Conference League, but I'm more looking at the guys that just don't make the starting 11 for the A-team ever, even when we do rotate a little bit. The likes of Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall, the likes of JOEYK, the likes of Mark Yu and players like that, who actually I think is a decent player. But either way, what I'm saying is I think the drop-off from, let's say, Fofana to Tosin Adarabioyo is clear. I think the drop-off from Fofana to Disasi is vast. And at the same time, I understand that it could be down to the fact that Fofana and Levi Colwill have now developed a partnership, a relationship. It's vocal. You can see them, hear them organising, talking amongst one another. And I think that pre-season would have played a big part in that, where they had the opportunity to start multiple matches together. And as for Romeo Lavia, he's a terrific player, but it's his presence more than anything that makes all the difference. Because despite having that £200+ million pivot in midfield that we've got, what happens if one of them gets injured or suspended? Like, there's no Conor Gallagher here no more, as I say. So what do? Do you drop Cassaday in at the deep end? You know what I mean? Look at the drop-off there. Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall playing in what I would say is out of position. Vega, yeah, could come good, do you know what I mean? But what I'm saying is, if you've got the likes of, let's say, a Romeo Lavia waiting in the wings, who's already getting minutes, and maybe we're trying Caicedo out right back at times and whatnot, I don't know, then that can pretty much settle that debate. And if Andre Santos is able to replicate half of what he's been doing out on loan back at Chelsea Football Club, then maybe we're fine in that position and we haven't got anything to worry about. But as for now, I don't know. Like, you lot tell me in the comment section, do you think Clearlake and Bowley and Igbali and those guys will be looking to do business in this transfer window? If you look at January transfer windows from the last couple of seasons, there's really not much business going on. And I think it's since the FFP and the PSR stuff came in and whatnot, and clubs don't really understand how much they're available or able to spend in that January window. But at the same time, we're Chelsea and we pretty much do whatever the fuck we want. So what do you think? Do you think we need to go and spend in January? And I'll tell you what I do think. I think me and Josh Aveste need to get in the studio and cover this one big time. So we will do that. We're going to be in straight away after the game on Saturday to do our post-match review. And then maybe we'll have a little look at this January transfer window and see if there's anything we can do. Any recalls, any new deals, or any sales that need to go out, really. Now, I told you that I was going to give you guys a score prediction, and I've got to be honest, I'll take any sort of win, however it comes here. I'll take a 1-0 own goal win happily in this game, if I'm being completely honest with you. I'm going to back Chelsea to win 2-1 in a hard-fought game, which will move us up to third place at least in the table until Monday evening, I believe. I don't think we can go second now on points. I think we can go third till Monday evening when Nottingham Forest play Wolves, who are a little bit rejuvenated of recent, and that's kind of a derby, isn't it? Not quite a derby, but it's a little bit of a derby. There's a bit of history there either way. So yeah, I'll have my Wolves scarf on for that one. I'll be wearing orange and I'll be watching the match. Either way, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, guys. If you're not already, subscribe to the channel, smash the like button on this one, and I will see you all in the next one.